Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about the void. So, what do I mean by the void? Kind of like infinity or the concept of infinity or voids or just like endless darkness. Because if you're familiar with the concept of hell, which I'm sure a lot of you are, um, you know, I I used to be scared of that when I was younger, and even now I still am pretty scared of it sometimes, like it's supposed to be the ultimate form of like torture, right? But funny enough, when I was watching this one episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, I unlocked a new like fear or phobia that I think is worse than the idea of hell. So basically, hell is supposed to be the ultimate form of like torture, right? So you get sent there and they just do ungodly things to you. They torture you. They torture you mentally, physically, things like that, right? Like poke you with pokers, fire, burning you, fumbling around in the darkness with dead bodies or like horrible smells, just like, everything you could think of that's just bad, right? And so that's why for a lot of people, hell is like obviously the most ultimate scary thing you can think of. But at the end of that one JoJo Bizarre Adventure, I think Joseph Joestar basically somehow turns the enemy into like stone or a rock or something. It's been a really long time since I've watched it, but and then he's still alive, like the enemy's still alive inside of the stone, and he essentially just like punches him out of orbit or something. And it kind of demonstrates that like he's flying through space basically for infinity, and he can't die, but like he's still alive. And you just kind of see this scene of him like floating into nothing, like into a void, trapped in stone. And I thought about it after that episode and I was like, dude, tell me why that's actually kind of scarier than hell. And like just think about it. Like imagine you literally can't die. The only thing that you're hearing, like the only senses that you have is yourself breathing, and then like your own thoughts, and that's it. And like, I mean, obviously it's silly because like a real human would eventually die, or like you would need food or water, or like your body would just give out and stuff like that. But if we're just imagining like a perfect scenario where you're somehow an immortal being and you still have human senses, but you're just literally trapped in place forever. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, that sounds scarier to me than hell because, like, you would just not sense anything. Like, you would just literally be staring at nothing, thinking probably nothing forever. I mean, what would you do? Would your consciousness just start, like, making up stories, or like that's like a really weird, interesting concept, like what would happen if your brain was just potentially put on infinite infinite thinking forever and that's it, like which is also kind of ties into like Fallout 4 lore, like, or like, I'm sorry, not Fallout 4, like early Fallout lore where there's that like brain computer where, like, or like you've seen it in other movies too, where it's like essentially a human brain loaded into a computer. Like, is that not the same concept, right? Of like just a consciousness being like just forever being there trapped. It can't die. It can't, live life either through human experiences. And to me, that sounds scarier than hell. Because, like, at least in hell, or like some interpretation of that, like, you would feel things, right? Supposedly. Like, sure, you're getting stabbed, but at least you're feeling something. Or, like, sure, maybe you're burned for like 100 years, but then eventually you're rotated to like some other torture chamber and at least your experience changes. Like, obviously it's not a good experience, but it's something that would somewhat keep you sane, I guess. I don't know. Because, like, you know, another interesting point of that is, like, if your body was still alive and floating through space forever, would you just forget your body's there? Would you, like, lose all your senses? So, you know, there's like a million questions that come up with this, and I just find it like really interesting. So I had never thought of the void as like this scary place, but it's honestly one of the scariest things to me now is like the idea of just an endless void. And like same thing with like black holes. Like, what if they truly are just endless voids that suck in all energy and matter and stuff, right? Or like just space itself is also just so scary. And I think that's why for a lot of people, religion is like such an unfathomable thing that they don't try to explain it or they don't try to think about it, you know? And myself, I'm agnostic, so I have a lot of my own views on this, but that's one of the reasons I'm agnostic is if you really think about it for a long time, a lot of these things like hell and infinity and an endless creator and stuff like that, not only is it scary, but like it just kind of doesn't make any sense. And you know, there's a lot of things that don't make sense to humans, but I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I don't know, I think like consciousness eventually dies, even if you were in that scenario of like being essentially trapped forever. I don't see how it could just stay there forever, right? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting thought experiment. Maybe I'll make a future dumpster talk video on like why I'm agnostic and my views on that. I found a really good channel the other day from somebody who has studied that all her life, and she summarized a lot of things I feel about that pretty well. So maybe I'll reference that video before talking out of my butt, right? But this is, you know, just an environment to shoot the shit essentially. So I'll try to stay on topic here. So yeah, infinity, like, or even just the concept of infinity has also just screwed with my mind so much. And I mean, I'm sure it does with a lot of people too. Like, because infinity is almost kind of magic, right? Like, whenever you think of like magic, in real life, I think the closest thing you can get to magic in real life is stuff like infinity or math or you know, playing with the human mind, like magic tricks, stuff like that, like spirituality, ghosts, things, you know, because like all of that stuff just kind of has an inherent magical ability, like thing about it. Like, I'm not talking like Harry Potter magic, like you know, like that shit's for kids. Like, come on, like Leviosa or whatever, and something starts floating. Like get out of here. Like, there's like some kid shit. But I'm talking like real magic, like magic where it's like, I don't know, I guess you could say AI, right? Like, AI is probably the closest thing in a long time that has felt like just pure magic to me. And, you know, being a developer, like, I understand what's going on under the hood, and I know it's just a lot of like math with like linear regression and different kinds of formulas for statistics and databases that are just really, really, really well optimized and stuff like that. So, you know, it's not magic, it isn't, but it really, really, really almost feels like it, you know? And so I think infinity a lot of the time does that for me too, where it's like, yeah, I understand the concept, and like I get that, you know, infinities play into other infinities, and like when you start getting to like high level math, you have to use infinity a lot to explain things. And it does make sense eventually, but it still just kind of feels like magic, you know? So I don't know. I just really think that that's one of my main fears now is just the void. Like, I really hope no one will ever have to face something like that, including myself. And I think it's a really great concept for like stories and movies and books and things like that. I think it's more interesting than like time travel itself, because like, you know, time travel is kind of overplayed. Like everybody does time travel, like Avengers Endgame and like multiverse stuff and all that kind of thing. So I don't know. I just felt like ranting about that. So thank you for coming into the third episode of Dumpster Talk.